Welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast, where you'll find insight, analysis, and the story behind the numbers.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to Business Line's State of Economy podcast. One of the health issues affecting India is malnutrition among children, particularly girls. As per the National Family Health Survey, NFHS 5, 36% of children under 5 are stunted, 19% are wasted, and 32% are underweight. Besides, 3% are overweight. Economic inequality and poverty have been blamed for this situation. In order to address this issue, HarvestPlus, a unit of the International Food Policy Research Institute, has been working to find various solutions since 2011. It has been collaborating with public and private sectors. In particular, it has been running the health and nutrition of school-aged children, ANSA program in collaboration with the Apple Foundation. It aims to reach the most vulnerable and exposed part of Indian communities, mainly children of 14 years and below. To brief us about HANSA and efforts to tackle malnutrition, we have with us Mr. Ravinder Grover, Program Lead, Harvest Plus. Welcome to Business and State of Economy podcast, sir.
Now, we have heard a lot about IFPRI's work in particular because over the years it's been doing a great job. Now, can you kindly tell us about what this HANSA program of IFPRI is and its impact in the country?
Thank you, Subramani, for having me here. Let me take a step back and tell you a little bit more about our organization. So I represent Harvest Plus, which as part of International Food Policy Research Institute, works on bio-fortified crops, the crops which are basically rich in iron, zinc, and vitamin A. And we work on development, dissemination, and scaling of these crops across the world. So we have now around more than 400 varieties in 40 countries, primarily working in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. So the idea is to take these crops, mainly staples like rice, wheat, beans, maize, and other crops, which are primarily consumed by low-income rural households or by the farmers who eat whatever they grow. And particularly, we are focusing on young children, adolescent girls who suffer from, who are more vulnerable to stunting, iron deficiencies, so on and so forth. And children, as you know, is one of the key vulnerable segments when it comes to malnutrition. In fact, the recent, the Lancet report says 1 in 2 children is suffering from one of these micronutrient deficiencies. And in India also, the situation is very similar. So we have around 36% prevalence of stunting, and the anemia is as high as 67% in children from 6 months to 60 months of age. So with this background, our focus was to mainstream nutrition into the government program. As you know, Government of India has a wonderful program running around supplementary nutrition and midday meal, which caters to around 120 million children in under midday meal scheme and around 80 million children in under Anganwadi program. So our idea was to take more nutrition through these, government schemes to the children. And so we started this program, which is called Health and Nutrition for School-Age Children, HANSA. The objective is to make these foods which are being served under these schemes more nutrition by including millets in the menu and by replacing some of the regular food varieties which are being used, particularly for wheat, rice, with the naturally nutritious varieties of crops like for wheat and rice. So that's the broad program. The program aims to cover around 2 million children in next 5 years. And we have had a launch of program in Maharashtra, starting with Pune. And now this year, we have also expanded to Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, and we are now looking at states like Telangana and Jharkhand as well.
So what are the upcoming projects and partnership with various governments as part of your roadmap to touch 2 million children with bio-fortified school meals? And briefly about Hansa's ongoing partnership with governments on the lines of NRLM and SRLM, that's the Rural Livelihood Missions of the both state government and the union government, as well as the integrated child development schemes.
Yeah. So we are a catalytic organization which work through partnerships, and then partnerships have been very critical for scaling our reach. And under Hansa program also, we have tied up with particularly National Rural Livelihood Mission, wherein nearly 70 million women farmers who are covered under NRLM. Our objective is to encourage them to grow bio-fortified crops, including iron-rich pearl millet and zinc-rich wheat. And when these farms grow bio-fortified crops, it makes more sense from logistics point of view also to then cater to the nearby schools which are there in their vicinities. Also, in our experience, we have noticed that women understand nutrition more. So when they are engaged with the nutritious crops, we are ensuring that it's not only the schools where the children are getting nutritious food, but when also they go back home, they get nutritious foods at their home. So the partnership with Ministry of Rural Development, particularly NRLM, is one of the key partnerships that we have. Another interesting partnership that we have developed is with the National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management and the Ministry of Agriculture. Again, they have been of great support for us in doing extension programs for KVKs, for startups who are interested in dealing with naturally nutritious crops. We have tied up with the Ministry of Women and Child Development, particularly for the ICDS Anganwadi program. And they have been kind enough to give us initial permissions in the states of Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan to start these pilot programs to measure impact and acceptability of the new menus that we are designing for the children. Also, we are working with Ministry of Education, taking permissions from school management committees, before starting these programs at the state level. I mean, even at a higher level, the engagement, the discussions are on with the Food Corporation of India to ensure that bio-fortified crops are procured and supplied at scale under midday meal program as
So
well.
how much of bio-fortified crops are cultivated under HarvestPlus for the Hansa project to improve the nutrition in the school meals?
So Subramani, around 7 million farmers are already growing and consuming bio-fortified crops in India. HarvestPlus program is there in India for last 10 years. And the concept of biofortification is being led in India by ICAR. And they have developed more than 100 varieties of biofortified crops, covering the whole length and breadth of crop profile that's available in India. And tremendous amount of work has been done on that front. So the key crops that HarvestPlus is currently focusing on are zinc wheat, iron pearl millets, zinc rice, and iron lentils. So these are some of the key crops which we have been focusing on. And the major states where our focus has been, for example, for wheat, it has been in Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan. For millets, it has been Maharashtra, Karnataka. We have been also doing some work in state of Punjab for zinc wheat again, and for rice, we have been working in state of Odisha. So we have been covering all the major states of India, and there has been a good acceptability of biofortified crops. Our last survey indicates around 83% of the farmers were happy replacing their regular varieties with biofortified varieties. And the reason had been very simple, that these crops are not only nutritious, but they are also yield plus many a times, which means they give either higher or comparable yield. And in addition to being climate smart, so farmers end up getting slightly higher income compared to what they have been getting with regular varieties.
So, how is HarvestPlus supporting farmers, who ensure that farming households are aware of and can access biofortified planting material, understand the various benefits, and know how to grow these biofortified crops?
HarvestPlus, like I said, works across the value chain, starting with the farmers. And the first activity that needs to be done is the awareness creation. And we have been conducting training programs for awareness creation of biofortified crops on our own as well as with our partners, including National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management, who has been really supportive in terms of taking this concept to larger number of farmers through KVKs and other stakeholders. We also do help farmers with troubleshooting in terms of any problems they face during cultivation phase. And then we are also helping farmers get an end market for this produce through our market linkages. We have worked with startups, social enterprises who are interested in taking up biofortified crops. For example, in Punjab last year, December, we had launched a whole wheat zinc flour. And likewise, we have been working with a startup called AgroZ in Maharashtra, who has developed a complete portfolio of biofortified millet-based products. There's a similar startup in Uttar Pradesh, Green Day, which has been working again on biofortified wheat flour. So we understand the importance of creating a market for the farmers. So on one hand, we are working on awareness creation, hand-holding the farmers, and on the on the downstream value chain, we are also helping them by creating demand sync for them by working with these startup partners.
What about the targets for micronutrient content for biofortified crop? The per capita consumption of the crop, the retention of micronutrients after processing and cooking or storage, and the proportion of micronutrient absorbed by the body.
Yeah, a good question, Subramani. In fact, globally, a very comprehensive approach called a biofortification priority index is used to identify the country crop combinations which should be biofortified at first place. And the targets are decided on a number of factors, some of which you mentioned, like the target population, per capita consumption, and then the consumer preferences around the dietary habits that the consumers have in this place. So this comprehensive approach is used to first identify country crop combinations and then to set the breeding targets, which are then met in association with NAS working with the breeders together to reach out to those breeding targets for micronutrient content in these crops.
Fine, sir. Thank you very much. We'll keep in touch, sir.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for having me here, Subramani. Really appreciate it.